saw in the spring, to be able to consolidate it and find a way to present it for, 3 different elementary schools, a middle school and a high school. And I think the path, the way you chose, how let everybody have their own input on it and their own spin on it. But as long as we keep our core goals aligned, I think the district will move really in the right direction. We're coming from a good point anyway, and then this just allows us to be focused on where to go in the future. So thank you.
And I really just want to compliment the teachers and the staffs in the buildings because they've been working with their building principals. Last spring, the principals shared the data about parent feedback and student feedback and their own teacher feedback to each other, and began coming up with like, well, what does this mean for us, and what do we believe in, and what do we want? And so there's autonomy for each building, but it's connected to a pinpoint place we want to go to. And I just want to compliment the entire staff because if they're not on board and buying in and doing this, it's not going to be as effective for our kids. And I think the plan is not just to put goals on a wall and say these are our goals, but to make sure that every faculty meeting or department meeting or grade level meeting we have in some way pulls us along and make sure that these things come to reality. And what I've seen from the principals' feedback in their meetings already has been lots of progress in a short amount of time. So it's really exciting to see it. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the faculty support and the cabinet and also the administrative team that's been wonderful.
And I think it also provides some quick wins too, even like furniture. Furniture is 50 plus years old. And if we could slowly, change things, make them more useful, at a reasonable expense, I think that would be great.
And again, that was one of the reasons we created the capital reserve so that we could take money that we already were having, instead of putting it in reserves that existed, put it in a new reserve that could be earmarked for that. So we're slowly going to build that, and then hopefully begin plans for, hopefully in this upcoming budget, some STEAM labs at Lincoln Avenue and Sunrise, and then in the future, middle school science labs, theater spaces, and other things. Okay, so that kind of wraps up our 100-day study report. If anyone in the community has questions or wants to call us or ask for any additional data from the study, we're happy to share that with you. The thing that I think resonates most is that every single person who we talk to cares deeply about their children, cares deeply about their schools. And when you have that, if you find a direction to aim for, there's nothing you can't achieve. So we're really excited about that.
It's a question.
Another question, just a comment. Looking at a great starting point to do a survey, but what I notice a trend from the parents is as the years progress, elementary school to middle school to high school, the parents seem to be less, yes, they scored lower. I want to say less engaged for whatever reason. High school level, I think was at 75%. As a parent, I could remember those years too. You're riding the wave as a child develops, but then high school comes. Now you have the pressures of, regents, college, the future. And to me, that's more, that 75% is what, a C? We're on the right track, survey's a good place, but I see that as, that, I don't say red flag, but that is definitely an area that should be focused on. It's pretty evident how the parents are scoring as the child develops through the years.
I want to thank you for your comment. We are going to have an opening
Yeah, the data supports it.
But I do think it's great because we now have something to aim for. And my goal would be to have 100 in every category. So
Right.
you know where you are, so then you know what to aim for. And in the future, we're going to give more surveys and see if we've made progress.
Right, thank you.
All right, okay. So now we're moving on to board discussion. Before we do that, I just would like to read a statement that we prepared for the board. Our Board of Education is committed to the safety and well-being of all students. This includes protecting our students from racism, bullying, or hazing of any kind. Recently, our board learned that a former student in our schools was subjected to anti-Semitic comments throughout their time in high school and as a member of one of our sports teams. We are saddened by this, extremely disappointed that it occurred, at what occurred, and we are sorry that our former student had endured that kind of experience within our schools. The purpose of the statement is to acknowledge and apologize for what had happened in the past, and also to demonstrate that we as a Board of Education are committed to doing better in the future. While data survey from our 100-day study shows that a large majority of our students feel safe and supported in our schools, we have an obligation to ensure that all our students feel the same way. This is why we voted in favor of board goal number 3, continuing our work to ensure that all students feel a sense of belonging and safety in our schools, no matter who they are, where they come from, or what they believe. As such, we are asking Dr. Ferris to review and update all of our anti-bullying and harassment policies with his administrative team, updating trainings for our staff, and work collaboratively with all members of our learning community to ensure that we honor our strong belief that racism, anti-Semitism, harassment, or bullying of any kind is unacceptable in our schools. We have an amazing community here in Sayville, full of wonderful teachers, students, and staff members. We are proud of these points. However, we can and must do better, and this board is committed to doing that. Thank you. Okay. So, our next topic we want to discuss is regarding the board seat. Actually, before I go on, does any other board member would like to add anything?
Yes, just.
Here's the mic.
Oops, sorry. I just want to thank the staff. I know there's a dance going on tonight, and there's a lot of happy children to kind of go back to normal. There's a generation, or at least a good block of students that never experienced a dance because of COVID. So just the fact that the staff put that together and moved forward with it is much appreciated.
Okay. Our next topic that we have on the agenda is the, actually, let me just, I'm going to move it out of order. The Nassau Suffolk Resolutions meeting. Will you be attending that?
Yeah,
It's like an online thing?
It's on line 18th maybe at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a little preview.
Okay. And we have,
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
I'm sorry. James, is there going to be, regarding that meeting, could you just like, if you can, is there like a short review of what's occurring? Is there voting?
It's voted. So we all got that vote.
Yeah.
So if you have any thoughts. So we received, like, the resolutions that we put forward, and the objective of that is that they would hold a vote, and wherever there's votes, those would then be part of the state school board's legislative agenda. So it just means that they're just defining their priorities. So what we had the other night at the National Suffolk School Boards was kind of like a little bit of a preview, where there was like mock voting, and people that had put forward resolutions could speak to, you know, why they thought it was important, and if there were questions and answers, so there was a little bit of back and forth. But yeah, if anybody had any input or any thoughts on any of the resolutions, and there's that chart where it shows like, this is something that the state school board supports, this is something that the National Suffolk School Board, all of that is just their way of kind of weighing in as organizations for those things. Ultimately, how the vote comes out will be how that part is added or not to the state school board's legislature.
Okay, and then for those resolutions that are geared more towards, say, like a rural school district, does everybody still vote on those, or only those schools that it's affected?
If I was completely ignorant of it and I wasn't understanding the issues, I would not vote, I would abstain. But if it's something that seems at all germane to any sort of, some of them seem so specific, and we got a little preview in that spreadsheet. I don't even really understand them. It seems like it's so very specific to
that particular
Yeah.
proposal, right?
Yeah, so it's, right, so, and there's other ones where there might be 5 or 6 people that are supporting it, and I suspect in those cases, there's some dialogue amongst those people for those. Like, for us, we did not put forth any resolutions this year, state schools. So it's more a matter of, again, the outcome is, it's part of the legislative agenda. What exactly does that mean? It means that the state PTA sees it, the Board of Regents sees it, so that they know what the state school boards are thinking. It's like it's not like all of a sudden there's a new policy because the state school is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next topic is the vacant Board of Education seat. So we want to have final discussions on that tonight.
Just want to remind you to use your microphone so everyone can hear you when you discuss it.
So, as you know, we have three options. One is to leave the seat open till the next election cycle, which is in May. The other is to have a special election and run that now, and that person would then be elected from now till May. And the third option is for us to appoint somebody to post for interested parties to apply and then interview and decide who's the person. Again, the person would only serve until May. That run for election. So, any discussion?
I have some thoughts. Maybe I might have pulled it out. So can you guys hear me when I talk on that microphone?
Yep.
Okay. I actually would like to interview candidates. And the main reason is, I think that we will attract people, more people now than if we did an election, because I think people don't know if they want to serve on a school board. I think this is kind of a low-pressure way for someone that has an interest and might be interested in putting forth their name. And for me, I look at two of the board seats, two of the board trustees that are on this board were chosen in that way, Kelly and Carl. They're both excellent board members. So I think a variety of people that we could attract if we did that. I also think that I like having 7 members. I like 7 different perspectives. We never all agree on something, but we always reach consensus. But I think everybody adds something. And I think I appreciate that other perspective, whatever the person has to say. And the other thing I think, a couple things that are important is, in order to, there's issues that come up where, like tonight I had to meet the teacher night. So I was late arriving here because I have a job, so I wasn't able to be here for most of the board meeting. When you have votes, like you always, and then other people have other commitments. I like having 7 members. It just makes it kind of there's no question we're going to have a quorum. And what a quorum is that you have, enough members to actually have a vote where there's a majority. So I think it increases the likelihood of that. Yeah, and the other thing is, I just think, again, I respect very much this board, and I think given that more people will put their name forward, and we saw that previously for both times there were people interviewing, I like having that talent, but I also trust this group as a body. And I think, for example, when we chose Kelly, I never met Kelly before she ran, but I was just so impressed with when she interviewed, and I think she's carried that through. So I think we would see something similar. And to me, I don't know why we wouldn't.
I'll go next. So, James, I thank you for your input. I am going to respectfully disagree with your recommendation to appoint. While I certainly agree with many of the things that you stated, specifically that we don't always agree, but we do come to consensus, and each person's input is important. And yes, there are some times when some board members cannot make it because they have jobs and families. I do believe that we are here to represent the community, and I do feel there is a strong sense from the community that an election take place. So it's just my personal opinion that we hold off on the vacant seat until the May election.
I agree with Kelly. I think that historically this board has gone at least to 2 of those options, and I think that sometimes you have to look at the political, what's going on and what people are saying and how they're feeling, and I think that if we were to appoint somebody now, that person would come under such scrutiny, even if they were the best person possible. And I think that's unfair to put anyone in that position. I'm not in favor of a special election, but I do think that with holding anything, we can wait until May, and that something were to happen between now and May, we could revisit this as a thought, but I don't see the need to appoint. It can be a lot of time, it can be a lot of effort, and I think that running that person through the interview process and then having to run in May, knowing that they're going to be met with opposition, even if they were the perfect person, is problematic.
I want to say, I also agree with Kelly. Sorry, James. But not for the particular reason that this is very late in the year. By the time we got the paperwork, interviewed someone, it would probably be around February, and I would not want to do that when a couple months down the road, people could vote on who they chose. So I agree we should go with the election in May, because the timing is really, so I agree with that.
I feel torn, and I see your point as far as pushing it to the election, but I came onto the board in a very contentious time. It was when the budget failed, and there was the board wanted to pierce the cap. And I feel like I'm far from a perfect board member, but I do feel like hopefully I've added value in the 10 years I've been on, the 9 years I've been on the board, and I feel like I'd be a hypocrite if I said we should not try to appoint someone. In the meantime, I think the more people that care about the district and that can bring their own special viewpoint and expertise to the board would only help us. Again, I'm not married to that, but I definitely lean more towards appointing now.
Oh, the kingmaker.
That's where you go last.
To be honest with you, I mean, there's nothing wrong with appointing. I know there's communications out there that say we're taking something away. We're all elected by our community, and within the state law, we're allowed to appoint somebody to fill the seat. I agree that I think it's better to be a full complement, but I also agree with what the two of you said as well, and also that I wouldn't want to put a person in a situation that they have to defend themselves, just to be on the Board of Education. And so I think at this time, I mean, if we would have had a full complement a month ago, in the beginning of September, I probably would have pushed to fill the seat. But since we don't have a unanimous amount, even though I could easily make the decision by being the third one, but I think we'll hold it until the election. Okay with everything?
I just want to add one more thing, and this is just a personal perspective. I definitely want to say that I am certainly grateful that I was able to come in and interview, and I was very passionate about joining the board, and I did run the next year. But at that time, I don't feel like there was, it was a different atmosphere, a different climate, and I feel like it's just important to listen to the community at this time about this issue. Thank you, everybody, for your input.
Okay, so that's that. The next thing I have on our discussions is about training opportunities. There's it's for board members, there's a fiscal governance workshop on November 29th. And they're actually enticing people because they're giving dinner.
I've actually already signed up for that. I can't wait for the dinner. Yeah, the dinner. Oh wait, there's also a meeting. I'm gonna go to that.
And yes, that sounds like a good opportunity. And there's another one on cybersecurity on October 11th. and October 24th. So that's available to you as well.
Is that a two-part or is it one or the other?
I think it's one or another, it's a through webinar.
We have our meeting on the 11th.
Yeah.
Also wanted to add at the Wednesday meeting, Ron is going to be doing a presentation on how to read our fiscal reports, so that'll be a training in itself for all of you, just as an updated way to look into the new fiscal reports.
Maybe we can talk about maybe considering going to that cybersecurity one on October 24th. I'll look at my vote and see.
And I have a train scheduled that day, but nobody signed up for it, so I'm not right now.
I know John Bridgeman and I attended one virtually a couple of years ago, and it was actually a lot of really good information, so I'd like to see what
So
the
if
updates are.
it's a webinar, is it virtual, is it gonna be taped?
It's going to be taped, but it's just virtual.
Yeah, then I would be great, then I'll sit through it.
Okay, we also have the Iceland Town School Board meeting, that's on October 23rd.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, the free the webinar
Let's
is,
see cybersecurity.
that's a different meeting. Okay, that one's your webinar, we'll find out about that. Well, we also have the Iceland School Board meeting, so we need to know who's going to that in advance, or we'll let you know about that. Yeah.
I think short schools is hosting it at
Yeah.
no cost.
Okay, okay. And that's actually a good meeting. It's small, it's all the school boards are invited to Iceland Town, so they can collaborate. Okay. Any other topics? Yeah. All the topics?
More egocentric.
Any further discussion?
No, I like it.
Okay, good. So now we're going to go on to public comment portion. And before we start this portion, I would like to make the following statement. The Board of Education appreciates feedback from the community, and we recognize free speech as one of our fundamental freedoms. These freedoms are not without restrictions. We follow regulations specified by law and board policy, and we recognize our community members, we encourage our community members to offer public comment. According to Sayville School Board Policy 1230, we request the following. Participants in public session must demonstrate civility as they address the board and community. 30 minutes have been set aside for comments by the public. The board reserves the right to limit or extend public participation if it deems necessary. Comments and questions from the public are limited to 3 minutes per person and should be related to school matters. Speakers are requested to identify themselves or the group they represent and direct their comments to the board. The board will not permit discussion involving individual students, district personnel, or community members. The following policy, the full policy is available on the district website, and we appreciate your support to have a productive meeting. Thank you. So we have a show of hands, how many people would like to speak?
Tom, would you mind if I speak first? I usually wait till last, but I have to leave early.
Okay, let me see how many I
Sure.
have. So how many speakers? Okay, we have 3. Okay.
Is it?
So
Thank you. Hi, everybody, and thank you. I usually say my thank yous for the end, and I run out of time because we only have 3 minutes now. Years ago, we had a long time, and I think thanks to me, it was cut to 3 minutes. So I really don't get to say thank you until the end. So I have a list of the petition, and you can have this, and you have the other one. These people all thank you for making your decision about the vote. This is for James. I'd like to make sure that you have a copy of a code of conduct, that you're aware, just in case you never looked at one. Thank you. A parent sent me a notification about the middle school. An incident happened, and there was a story made up about it. When my kids would lie, they come home and I say, "What happened to the back of my car? There's a dent in it." "I don't know, Mom." Okay, but they knew. They're in trouble. But if they come home and say, "That guy down the block, he hit my car, blah, blah, blah," it's their fault. And he actually makes up a story to cover the lot, and then says, come to me with rumors you hear, that's no good. How do I know something happened at the middle school? Educators know things between themselves. Police families know some things between themselves. There's no reason at all if you have to say what happened at the middle school, but just to say, we had an incident, everything was okay, we need to protect privacy, we want you to know whatever it is we want you to know. Making up a story to cover a fabrication is disgusting. And then to have us say, come, listen to you, we have to believe you now and everything else, I'm sorry. That was disturbing. I've been coming here for years for this community. Staff, okay, supposedly I'm a teacher hater, but I've been here for years for staff, I've been here for the community. And I don't appreciate you lying to my community and deceiving them like that. And please, don't after me say you don't know what's wrong with me or attack me. Sometimes we make mistakes and just say we're sorry. That's it. I think we need to fix the foundation of that. Okay? We need to stop bullying in the schools sometimes, and inclusion needs to be in every single elementary building. We need to have them growing up together. We need to change that over the next couple of budget cycles, please. Because these children do not grow up together. They end up 2/3 of them meet in the middle school, and they tease each other, they bully each other. It's horrible. Please have them grow up together from kindergarten. All of your inclusion, please. Move them to their home schools. It's easy for the parents, and it's much better for all the kids. Start inclusion in the district, not just outside and talk about all the books and everybody outside of Sayville. I'd really like to advocate for that. Thank you very much. Kelly, I noticed I had a question, just a quick one. You thanked everybody who spoke civilly, and it's in the minutes, you're going to approve them at the last board meeting. I don't know the definition of civilly, but I know James's is much different than yours, probably.
Okay, your time's up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next person, please.
Hi, my name is Jill Pinella Corso. I'm a parent in the district. I have kids at Lincoln. Ms. DiMiola, actually, my question is for you. I really enjoyed your presentation. Nice, very effective PowerPoint. I was just wondering when we can expect to hear like an update on how the goals are going. And I specifically would like to hear more about like how each building is implementing the goals and benefits.
Thanks for your question. So the work is underway, and there are plans on the calendar to reconvene at a board meeting in February. I think it's February or late January.
I think the elementary presentation is in February. There's also going to be a high school and middle school update as well. Elementary is going to present together, but they'll report on each school about where we are with things. But we're not promising that everything in the goals will be met within the year. It's a long-range plan, but we're definitely going to report on progress in the winter.
February 1st.
Yeah, just for those who are interested, we have on the website a list of topics for every board meeting and the topics that are being covered. So if you look at that, it'll show you the date. I think it's February for elementary school.
Okay, anyone else?
Good evening, John Raymond, 2-year resident, 11-year homeowner of Sayville. I prepared a little written thing. I'm a baby boomer, so it was all written out. I don't use computers too much. I'm going to abandon that because based on the discussion of filling John Verdone's seat, it seems you've pretty much decided to hold off on appointing someone, which is the second best option. It was a rare compliment from my delightful Teal to you all about your decision, but I disagree with her. I generally agree, but I disagree here. I believe we should have a special election. I think parents should be respected, and there's a lot of sentiment in this community. There are multiple petitions. There's a petition on online with 374 signatures, including my own, and I really believe that tipping the hat to the parents and including them in the process symbolically and tangibly by holding a special election is crucial, particularly in these turbulent political times. So not appointing someone is better than by fiat appointing someone, but far better, and believe me, there's many silent members of the community who are not speaking tonight who would much prefer a special election. I've heard claims made by a certain board member on June 8th, that it would be far too costly and a waste of resources. I totally disagree. I recall a speaker being invited to the middle school for Martin Luther King for a brunch or bruncheon. And that speaker was Feminista Jones, and a highly racist person, highly divisive person, who's going to poison the minds of middle schoolers.
Excuse me. I don't know what that is.
The point is the cost. I would like to know if Sayville funds were allocated toward that speaker or not. I'm interested.
It was virtual. It was a virtual.
So there was no cost.
I don't believe so.
Okay. No, that wasn't one of my
It
questions.
also didn't happen, they didn't,
No, it didn't happen, but the point is, I'm curious about whether Sayville's funds, my hard-earned tax money, was going to go to that speaker to divide kids and create this consciousness of racism, which let kids be kids. Getting back to it, I'd much prefer, obviously, to have a special election, regardless of the cost. These are getting parents involved in their kids' education, and it's out of respect for the parents. Who cares more for the kids than the parent? Nobody. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
I'm not much of a mic person, but
There's no mic.
this is going to be good practice.
There's no mic there.
Is there a mic there?
No.
It's imaginary.
I really don't have much more to add except for what was just stated. Whether it's a special election or we hold off on the election, I think that's the way to go with filling the seat. I think I made that comment before about 75% of the parents, I guess, being engaged at the high school level. That's a great way to start. Whether it's special election or an election held off, that's the best way of, on the right foot, right? Try to get parents. And the comment about interviewing someone, I just want to get to you. So I work in corporate, just like you too. When you interview a person, you tend to sometimes get the person, you hire the person that has the same mindset. And that's the danger also of interviewing somebody. You know, we all fall in that, we're comfortable, and this guy looks like he's like me, but that doesn't really bring much to diversity in a different way. If I hire someone that thinks just like me, and I'm working on a project, I just have another John next to me. It's good to have different, and it's not just skin color, it's also just up here. Your life experience makes you diverse. Your skin color, your faith, your neighborhood, the way you were raised, those are all things that make us all diverse. But anyhow, Kelly, am I saying right? Thank you for being brave and speaking out on that. You pretty much started the catalyst with this. And thank you for that whole PowerPoint presentation. That's a lot of data, but it's a good starting point. At least you know where you stand. Okay? Thank you. Thank you for your time, everyone.
Anybody else? Okay, I just would like to make one comment. Obviously, as a community, we don't all agree on everything. And this is a clear example of that. The board doesn't agree on this topic unanimously. So we just should respect everybody else's point of view. And we found a compromise. The compromise is we'll have the election in May. I guess what most of us on the board wouldn't want to have a special election because there's additional cost involved. And for the short period of time that that person sits on the board, we feel it's not worth that cost. So we'll have it in there by the community. So thank you.
Just want to respond to Teal's comments. I guess I'll just say this. If an incident occurs in a middle school and rumors are spread about a child, and none of those rumors tend to be true, I'm not going to put an email about that student non-event occurring. So my job is to protect the rights of the child.
Just in general, we have.
But I also want to say, this is not a discussion, this is not a back and forth, this is just me responding to your comments. I refute the statement that there was a lie told. There was police officers at the middle school. One of them went into the building, the principal looked at the police officer and said, "Why are there so many guys here?" And he said, "We're training a bunch of guys." That is what was told to the principal, that is what I shared with the community. If there's a situation where there's a danger or a threat to any students in our schools, my promise in that email and in reality is genuine. We will notify parents, but we're not going to notify parents about an issue that actually was proven to be not true.
There was a
So that's all we're going to say. We're not discussing it. I'm just saying that for you to come out and say we're lying about it is in effect a stretch of the truth in itself. And I just want to tell you, in a community where we are striving to ensure that all children do not feel bullied or harassed. I want to thank you, Teal, because you consistently remind me what it feels like to be bullied and harassed, and I'll keep me as a going kind of
I have
forward so I
resources if
don't,
you like.
and I make sure that our children never feel the way you make me feel. Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, you feel that way, but that's the truth. You made up a narrative. This is your research.
Okay,
You
so,
can say it, but you can't, that's not right.
Okay.
okay, we're gonna move on to recommended actions. I need a motion for.
Police families don't know.